Hey guys, it's Matt. Today we're going to be doing another city walk. I just got done seeing Do the Right Thing. It was amazing. The first time I've ever seen that Spike Lee movie. I would recommend everybody see it. But today I decided to go down Greenwich, or West Broadway now. I'm not really good at directions, so we're just going to walk around. It is the beginning of a very hot week. Although right now it's only like, well, it says 84, but it doesn't feel 84. It feels cooler than that. We're going to be going up to about 95 degrees. It's going to be a little bit, I don't know. I want to be outside as much as possible, so let's get on with this. And by the way, right now we're using the DJI Pocket 2. I'm trying to see what the difference is between each of these. Of course, we know the DJI Pocket 3 is going to be much better quality, but it is significantly bigger, and I was just going for a run earlier, so we're going to try it out this way. I always just have to make sure I know where I'm going here. Again, this is something that I'm used to be doing, is taking the electric bike home. It's just a straight shot, it's real quick, but because of that, I have no idea usually the streets that I'm on. I think I'm passing by the Roxy, or it could be a different building. No, that's a Citizens Bank. So let's see exactly which way we're going to take today. All right. All right, we are going to turn and bear left here. And we'll see which road we'll be on. Oh my God, they have Girl Scout cookies. I haven't seen those in forever. Don't even fucking, dude. Anyway, I think we're finally getting on the right path. We're gonna figure this out. But like I said, it's a nice day. It's a relaxing day. So the systems that the Pocket 2 and 3 use are basically going to be the same, but the one thing is you can add a lot more weight to an already heavier piece of technology, and when you do that to a gimbal, it kind of, well, it doesn't eliminate, but it reduces like the micro jitters and shakes that you're probably seeing with this one here. Again, the DJI Pocket 2 is the one that I would find usable because it's a little bit more wide angle than the original Pocket. Although I do like the image quality of the original one better. It's less HDR-y. But thankfully on the Pocket 3 you can turn all that stuff off. The denoising, a bunch of those different features to make it look a little bit more, let's say, traditional or film-like, if you want to talk about it that way. But again, this is just like the perfect happy medium. You can always add the do-it-all handle. Then you can add a mic system, although we're not using a mic system right now. But then you can do that and more on the Pocket 3. Adding the extra battery, adding the mic on top. It just becomes a more significant device. But again, I found that to be a little bit, like, it's just that big enough where it's a little annoying to have that in a pocket. I know they're all pocketable, but this one is just like, it's tiny. So tiny. Look at the sun, it's beautiful today. By the way, I chose the Pocket 2 over the Action 2 today, even though I have the Action 2 strapped on my chest with the little necklace lanyard mount. I always think that having a gimbal is just better when the weather allows for it. No chance of rain today, so I'm always going to have this with me. But we will be talking about in a few of the creative reviews videos about what camera is best for each situation while you're kind of walking in the city. Just because for me, I don't usually carry a bag with me. I don't have a car, so I don't have a place to like leave stuff. So if you're stuck in the city, if you're traveling too, it always matters about which camera that you're going to be taking with you. So let's see. Another beautiful view again. And by the way, these are beautiful to look at, these stone driveways, but on the bike it is one of the worst things just to kind of bounce around on it, especially if you have a city bike. I don't recommend it. If you see one of those streets, don't go down. Maybe find another one. Well, let's see if we find anything interesting going on today. Now, one of my favorite things to do, and this is something I tell all my friends, is when you're out really late at night on a hot summer night, I think that's one of the best times to ever walk around the city. Of course, if you have that opportunity to do so. Just because, let's say right now, it's around 5-ish. People are outside, people are going to bars, people are biking around. But when you're out at like 3 a.m., it is one of the most peaceful, quiet experiences ever, and it really makes it feel like the city is yours. And I've always loved that. And I remember walking this exact path and just being extremely just like peaceful and at ease. And I know it could be dangerous sometimes, especially that late at night. But, I mean, if you are just aware of everything, you should be fine. I was thinking about walking on the West Side Highway, but I think there's too many people there. This is more me. And by the way, we are walking up to Midtown. So just all the way up there from the financial district. I forget when I actually started this. Oh, there's one of the buildings that I really think is interesting. Oh, it's not zooming. It's a unique building, but I've grown to like it. It just kind of sticks out. It's always around. Even with the other traditional buildings, it's always good just to kind of see that. So if I'm not mistaken, this is the kind of area to go to the Holland to New Jersey. Closes at 11 p.m. That's something I don't miss. I used to live in Weehawken, New Jersey. It was always just annoying just to get there. So thankfully being in the city, that will always help. Sorry guys. And now that I think about it, I think it was with this camera, not this one exactly, but the DJI Pocket, the original, that I used to do the tours of Manhattan when it was completely empty because of COVID. I thought that was interesting. but I remember how empty it was, and I remember the only social interaction was the people that would yell at you for being a tourist because you were outside when everybody was supposed to be staying inside. I mean, looking back on that now, that's ridiculous, but I just remember I would pass some people by and I would get some crazy people saying, "What are you doing? You have to stay inside. Where's your mask?" I'm like, we're outside right now. There's basically no one around, so really, what is the point of all that? That was such an interesting time. I really want to go back to those videos and kind of like re-experience that. I just want to maybe put that on one of the biggest screens that I can find and just kind of re-watch that again. Because although the city has changed since, of course, coming back, it's never the same as it was before. And I wish I took more videos before the pandemic too. I just never thought or had much of the time to do that. So one thing that I think is a little bit of an issue with this camera, again, the camera is tiny, so the way that you hold it is kind of just like gripping it like this, like a little piece of gum, because you don't want to accidentally cover the microphones on the front or the side, because that, you know, that could be an issue. But what that kind of causes you to do is to have this motion all the time, this motion, and it just kind of pumps in a little bit too much, and my thumb was getting a little bit sore. So I'm trying to think how to hold this maybe a little bit higher up on the unit. And maybe I'm gonna grip it, just trying to get away from all the microphones, because I don't want to ruin any of the audio. But I have to ask, again, this is the DJI 2, Pocket 2. What do you think of the quality? If you have, like, again, the most popular camera, I would say, for casual video content creators, is the DJI Pocket 3, and maybe we'll get into that on Creative Reviews. But if you have this one, I don't feel the need, if you are very casual with this, to upgrade. Sure, you don't get all the accessories. It is not great as it is in picture quality. And also, the one thing that I really do worry about is that it is not as good in low light, the 2 to the 3. The 3 is incredible in low light, and I've actually abandoned my traditional rig, which was a Canon M6 Mark II with a Sigma 16mm 1.4 lens. I've always had that, and I just tried vlogging with it, but to have the right kind of stability, you have to punch in a lot, and it gets heavy. Like I tried, yeah, I think I just released a video on it, and it was just uncomfortable to hold, uncomfortable to have. And again, this is a stick of gum. The Pocket 3 is tiny as well. This guy's being weird. I don't know. Having a gimbal of any kind, maybe even one of those cell phone gimbals, I think this has really changed the game. I would not go back to something else, like a traditional mirrorless camera, even if it had like the gimbal accessory. And that would be the West Side Highway all the way over there. Again, the breeze probably gonna be a little bit better over there, but for me, it's not that warm to feel like I need this. So let's see, we're going a little bit of a shadow here, so let's see if this is as good as it is. Yeah, the quality is still there. Again, it's kind of strange. Whenever I have the best piece of technology at my disposal and I leave home without it, I feel a little bit weird. I feel like I'm missing out because it's not such a grand difference. It's still a pocketable device, talking about the Pocket 3. But when I leave without my best device, I feel almost naked. And I know whatever camera you have, I've been using the iPhone a lot, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that is a great camera with a great zoom. But again, if I bring out the 2 instead of the 3, it just feels like I could be doing more. I wouldn't bring both, because, why would I? But for example, the cameras that I have with me now, it's kind of strange. The Action 2 is what I kind of clip around my neck, and that's always going to be there. But I have the Action 4. It's not really as, mountable as, the DJI Action 2. It's just always there with me. But I really wish that I could, mount it on my arm, mount it somewhere else, because eating up that pocket space when you're going for a run, it does get kind of annoying. So I really try to minimize this as much as I possibly can. And, this seems to work. Oh, look at that green. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. The greenery on that building is beautiful. By the way, the DJI Action 2 does have an HDR mode, but that punches in a lot, so that is not something I would generally use. It also doesn't seem, weirdly enough, the gimbal stabilizer doesn't seem to stabilize the footage as much as I would like, maybe because it's so cropped in. And then if you are wondering, the DJI Pocket 3 is kind of always HDR mode, whether that be true or not. What the fuck is that shit? See, that's the problem with people that don't really know how to ride bikes, is they'll get into accidents like that. But of course, we all have to start somewhere. Actually, one feature that I've been testing out a little bit more is the action mode with the, the 15 Pro Max, also on the 14 Pro Max, where it kind of crops in and really reduces the shaking. That is kind of hit or miss. If I'm kind of walking as I'm doing right now, it doesn't tend to stabilize as much as I really want to. And I think that's because it doesn't know exactly what to focus on if you're kind of just walking aimlessly with not a central subject. But let's say that you have, and this is where it really works great, if you're punched in on maybe a building that's in the distance and you're walking by, you're shaking just because that's, how you walk and how you move. But it does a much better job because it knows, hey, that building or that person or that thing is your central subject, so it knows to kind of lock on and stick onto it. In that case, it is one of the best seamless experiences, better than a gimbal, better than the any of the Actions or even a GoPro, but it is just locked on, and I really love that about it. By the way, this is the Pocket 2 in my hand is getting a little bit warm. We're recording in 4K 30, and yeah, it's getting a little bit warm in my hand. Again, 84 degrees outside, so there's no real way to disperse the heat other than kind of walking at a normal pace. I'd rather not run right now, but it is getting a little bit warm. One thing I have to say, I use the Action 2 a lot, and I guess you've seen the other videos. You've seen how much I'm not a fan of that, of DJI and the way that they kind of treat what I would really call myself a defective product. But I still use it all the time. It is just really, really tiny. It's always there. It's always exactly what you need it to be in any situation. And on top of that, it's completely waterproof. So it's always able to be with me. Even if I go walking or running in a rainstorm, it's fine. Just not the modules, but just the little camera itself. This little camera itself. That little thing. And by the way, this was perfect where I had it. I had it clipped on to my chest mount, and it's there. It's always just going to be there. So I don't know. is this gimbal quality enough of an upgrade to use it instead of the DJI Action 2? Who knows? I think I know. I like this a little bit more. Oh, by the way, so what I was saying is I use the DJI Action 2 a lot. That does have overheating issues if you use it for a while, but I tend to use that on the front of my electric bike on a mount, so there's always going to be air pushing around it, and because of that, it seems to not overheat whenever I'm using that on the mount. But when I'm using it by hand and maybe kind of walking, oh, that is the, can you see that that's the Empire State Building, but that all the way there is the dragon from House of Dragons. I'm actually gonna record on the iPhone and hope I can punch in enough to see if we can get like a proper image. There's no cars here, so I'm just gonna set this down. Sorry, I just had to set this down. Wow, okay, this camera is getting a little bit toasty. But if you want to see the building with the little dragon, inflatable dragon on it, just look on the Instagram, creative.ny, and I'll post it there. I just recorded this earlier too, and that was beautiful. I always love this artwork. But yeah, that's one thing I actually missed yesterday. So yesterday was the season 2 premiere of House of the Dragon. I have no idea if it's good or bad. I've kind of been disappointed at the other shows that I've been watching, including The Acolyte, which has been just... First 2 episodes were good. Third just kind of lost me, and I just felt very unfocused on it, which is, again, disappointing. But we're gonna see how House of the Dragons is today. Although today is also ball night, Celtics versus Mavs, and who knows when the last game is going to be, because the Celtics are probably going to win. Oh, defund the MTA. Just because they are the better team, and nobody's ever come back from a 3-0 start. So that's just, it's not going to happen for the Mavs. But I love NBA. The NBA is my favorite thing to watch, my favorite sports thing to watch. And I think I dedicated a whole episode of the podcast before to talking about Inside the NBA, which is one of my favorite shows, just period. Sports, non-sports, anything. That's been interesting. There's a little inflatable man on this post, and I'm wondering what this is. Be grateful. All right. Interesting. Over there, West Village. We're actually going to be walking towards the edge of it here. But this is extremely calming. I really love this. Let's see, 24 minutes, 4K, 30 frames per second. In pro mode, but not doing anything extra with this. It's getting a little bit toasty. Let me feel it in the other hand. It's not giving me any warning though, and that's good. But the battery, let's see, the battery, it's not telling me what it is. I would have to say that we're maybe at about 75 to 70% battery, which is good enough for maybe like another hour and a half. I would say that works. But this has been nice. Oh, I love this car. Nice, clean, classic BMW. The one thing that's kind of pulling me in right now is it's basically happy hour right now. It'd be good to like meet friends and maybe have a drink or two, but in all honesty, I'm trying to cut that down. Over this time, being like a full-time content creator, video creator, It's very freeing, but you have a lot of time to do anything. It's like the, what is it, the random things about the unemployed friend. What are they doing on a Wednesday? It's kind of like that. This is an AA meeting. Oh, I remember I passed by this one earlier. $3.50 beers. That's a good deal. No, I think it's more time to... Oh, that's another beautiful shot down there. I think it's time more to eat than anything else. I'm not sure what I'm hungry for, though. I guess something I do want to talk about is when I first moved to the city, basically didn't have anything, and I was kind of forced to walk around all the time. I remember the first summer that I visited here, I was walking from, I think the far side of Prospect Park all the way into the city, and I did that kind of every day. Just because paying, $2.75 or whatever the round trip number of that would be, is a little bit too much. And it got me into great shape. I just had to be outside. I had to, walk around, maybe take a bike. But now I've realized having more in this city, taking the electric bike, which uses zero energy, or taking an Uber, or even a subway, it's just, I've gotten so lazy and so complacent and so comfortable taking these ways. I've been really wanting to do these walks more and more. This would be the, only counting weekdays, 4th straight weekday of these kind of walks, which have been maybe about 3 to 4 hours, going at a very slow and comfortable pace. No need to actually run, because why bother? But doing this in 80, 90 degree temperature really does feel like it helps. One thing that is calling my attention, I know we're going to be passing by at least one of these soon, is ice cream. Ice cream or a gelato. That would be really good. Oh, by the way, if you know of Smashed Burger, that one over there, they had a giant location in Lower East Side, which it goes into a building, nothing ever lasts long there. Just for whatever reason, it just does not last long. But I really thought that Smashed Burger would be the one to actually succeed. It's a place that there are always people that want food, inexpensive food. They'll just get a burger, although there is 7th Avenue Burger next door, and I think that's just a little bit more convenient. But if you know of this place, and I think it's across the street from Hair of the Dog, I don't understand why nothing is able to stay in that location. Also, the Zazzy's Pizza changed into something else too, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan yet. I haven't gotten the chance to try it. Oh, but that's what I wanted. I've been craving just a slice of pizza, and I think the next place I go, I'm going to go and grab something in there. But right now, we're in a nice comfy little area. A lot of nice little bars and restaurants around here, and again, the perfect time to be here and have like a happy hour drink, which is why I'm like, let's not do that today. Let's hold off. But I don't know about you guys. One of the things that I'm looking forward to the most this week is the 95 degree day. And I think that may be on Thursday or Friday, but I'm definitely going to be outside. I'm not going to bring this because I feel like it may overheat. I may just bring the regular DJI Action 2, but I'm definitely going to be out here recording, maybe doing a photo walk. That would maybe help. But I know this is going to be one of those days where I'm going to be completely drenched in sweat, and it's going to feel good. It's going to feel like a good workout. Siri thinks I'm talking to it for some reason. I think yesterday I just came around here, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but it's M-E-M-E. It's a Mediterranean restaurant. So we're going to call it Meme. Meme? Mimi? I'm not sure. But they do have good food. They had a lamb burger. My friend had lemon chicken. And I believe my other friend had shawarma. Alright, there's pizza. If I do this, I have to pause the video. Oh, we'll do it. We're gonna let this cool down for a sec. And I'm gonna have a slice, and I'll be back. Has this been zoomed in the whole time? Yep, it's been zoomed in the whole time. Anyway, I'll be right back. Alright, just got done with the pizza. I've switched over to the DJI Action 2. So I'll put like a little time code in the description so you guys know when exactly that split happens. But again, we're on the Action 2. I thought, we're talking about this camera so much, why don't we show the actual quality of it? And I think just the one thing to remember about this camera, the body only, without any of the modules, only has one microphone on it. And that can be an issue sometimes if you forget where that microphone is and maybe accidentally cover up that microphone. Right now it's actually on the opposite side of where I'm holding it. I technically should be holding this in my left hand, but if I flipped it around, that mic is actually facing me on this side, so it just kind of works out a little better. But in terms of pocketability, portability, it's unbeaten. It is so small, it's so compact, and again, without the extra modules, it is completely waterproof. Water resistant, let's just say water resistant. Just be careful with the mounting system. That's where I had my issues. But outside of that, one of my favorite concepts of cameras, what I really wish they did more with this particular model, and maybe not the Action 3 or the Action 4, is I wish they put more lens attachments and more lens accessories on this. I think that would help make it more of like an action camera, which it is not. I cannot consider this an action camera. I consider this more of like a lifestyle vlogging camera. And if you had different like lens attachments that you could like punch in, I think that would help. Because at least with the Pocket 2, you can digitally crop in when you're in 4K 2 times, 2.7K you can crop in 3 times, 1080p you can crop in digitally 4 times, I believe. And technically, you can do that here too, but it does degrade the quality a lot. Because when you're punching in, let's say you're in standard, you're already cropping the sensor. To use everything, you should really be in ultra wide and with no stability and no anything. But I'm always going to use rock steady. I'm usually going to shoot in ultra wide. But I do have to say, if you shoot in my favorite mode, the 1080p low power or power reserve mode, you little shit. What was I going to say? Oh, if you do standard versus ultra wide, it does not look good. It is barely like usable. I would say it's more like 720p because it's cropping into the sensor. It's not exactly what you need. So at least in 1080p power reserve mode, do ultra wide. I know sometimes it can be a little bit weird and warped looking, but at least you have this. You have more of the sensor to use, if that makes any sense. But anyway, right now we are filming in 4K 30. And that means that this, because it's only this and only has this battery inside it, I think it lasts, maybe it says 27 minutes. This is one of the... This guy's dreaming here. Anyway. What was I going to say? Oh, this is one of the 128 gigabyte units, so that's all internal. So I found that you can get more, like maybe 35 minutes before the battery dies. In power reserve mode, it quotes to you getting maybe about, I think 55 or 57 minutes, but I've been able to go to about maybe an hour and 10 minutes. And again, without any of the other modules. it definitely helps out. But more than anything, I think it's just that it's always able to be here in any weather situation. And for that, it's going to be the camera that I'll probably be using the most in Iceland, where I'm going there. What is it, at the end of the month, I believe? And I did get my dad a late Father's Day present. I'm going to wait till I meet him there. But I'm getting him this camera too because he likes riding his bike. He likes being active and, moving around like I do. So I think he'll appreciate that, because before I had the DJI Pocket 2 for him, and that kind of wasn't, I don't know, the battery on that one was kind of weird. It didn't really quite work out well, but I feel like this camera is going to be exactly what he needs. And for on the trip too, which I'm going with him and my mother, it's going to be great. Maybe I should get her a camera too. No, she doesn't really use it. She's not really into tech and photography or video as much as my father and I are. But that's all right. I'll bring extra ones so she can use it as well. But again, if you're traveling, I would say this is the camera to take. Because in my personal opinion, photography is done. Completely done. Just have a little thing that does video that's not your phone. That's what will help. All right, we're going to flip this back around. Yeah, 5 minutes has maybe taken about 10% of the battery, so we're perfectly fine on that. Again, it's warm outside, so I imagine there may be a heat warning on this at some point, but I'm not really sure. We'll figure that out here in a little bit. I mean, I hope there's not, because it's, what is it? 84 degrees in the shade, though. I think we should be fine. If you do record in, 120 frames per second in 4K, there is almost guaranteed to be a heat shutdown within maybe like 10 minutes. I remember I wanted to record my meeting deadmau5 when he had a record signing, and I had this mounted on me. I pressed it, but I did 120 frames per second at 4K. I was waiting outside a little bit, and unfortunately the camera overheated before I was even able to meet him. So that was unfortunate. Although I did get pictures with him, which is fun. So I came back with something. Whew. Oh, another thing that is great about this is if I wanted to mount this somewhere on a metal pole or anything metal, it just magnetizes. No thread mount. If you want to do like a quick vlog and mount it on a, one of these signposts, you can do it, and it is just so freeing to be able to do it. Right now, this is kind of me verbalizing which kind of camera do I like more. And I know we haven't brought up the Action 4, but that one is great in low light. That sensor on it has been amazing, but it's just still a little bit too traditionally, like an action cam, and it's not something I'd really carry around with me. So it's kind of in between this camera and the Pocket 3. And just because the Pocket 3 is a longer device and not waterproof, I would say, as a general thing, I would probably bring the Action 2 anywhere that it was allowed to be. Because mostly, there are some venues like Madison Square Garden, you can't bring action cams in. Brooklyn Raj has changed their camera policy to not allow any kind of cameras other than your phone, and that's a little bit disappointing. But if you can bring it, bring it. By the way, the Brooklyn Nets, they do allow you to bring, let's see, yeah, I could bring in my Pocket 3, and they had no issue with that. So I was happy. By the way, we do have the heat dispersing case, which basically is just a piece of plastic that they had to come out with because of the heating issues. And I believe that this camera is getting a little bit warm. I have the screen set to shut off, I believe, after a minute during recording. But this camera is getting a little bit warm, unfortunately. Oh well. We'll see if anything shuts off. We've already been doing this for maybe about an hour with both cameras, I think. So maybe that's a downside when we'll be walking in about, 95-degree heat later this week. It's going to be toasty. I think one thing that I will do when I bring this on my travels, I may leave the Pocket at home, and I think I'm going to use this. I heard somebody yelling in there, but I think I will use this on the 1080p power reserve mode. That way I'll be able to just bring the camera, no battery module just in case it rains, and I'll still be able to get about an hour of recording per camera, and that's going to help. So I've taken this walk again, like I mentioned, at like 3 a.m., just walking back. Not always after drinking, but just because I was out late with friends, I preferred just to walk back. But on nights when I was drinking, I do remember there being a McDonald's on the next corner, not this corner, but the corner after it. And I remember just getting kind of like the worst thing you could get, which is just like a thing of large fries. Sometimes they had a buy one, get one free, and I would get 2 large fries. But I kind of miss that. I know fast food is terrible for you, and well, we're just wandering here. But late at night, it's always something that's kind of fun to get. I don't even know what it is right now. They're definitely renovating that entire building. We're going to look at this in a second. But I don't know. We're going to see. Yeah, they're redoing the entire building. Again, fast food, not good for you, but sometimes you just need it. Urban Atelier Group. Let's see, work in progress, mixed use. They gutted this entire building. Like, I don't even remember what the facade of this building was before. It's completely different now. But the thing is, I don't understand. First, there is no extra tax credits at this point to get any of this done. And there are so many vacant, open places to have a business. Like, all of the illegal smoke shops are going out of business. Why not just have your business there? I don't get why they did that with this. I'm sure they have some kind of reason. By the way, though, yes, all of the smoke shops, Smoke Party may have been closed before, but at least around me in Midtown, I think maybe 3 places on my block closed. And these were places that didn't open because of COVID. They were there before, long before. Like, one of these places sold luggage and batteries and like maybe inexpensive Instax cameras. And then the other one was Weed World. Weed World is kind of like, I thought it was just like a fixture. I thought it was all fake weed, but apparently they were trying to sell like real joints there. And that's gone. Again, surprising, but kind of like I didn't want those there to begin with. They weren't really that much of a nuisance, but just not something that I really wanted. That's a nice building. You may think that I know so much about just fast food, but I remember when there was a Taco Bell around here, and that closed, and I think now it's a deli. Oh, I think I knew why, because it was a Pizza Hut Taco Bell, and I love those deep dish, like little pizzas. The ones that you used to get back in the 90s when you did Book It, where you read, when you read everything. That's just, yeah, that brings me back. Again, terrible for you, but God. That's something that frustrates me so much when people aren't paying attention when they're on their bike. They're just waste of life, in my opinion. All right. Speaking of our fast food tour, we're going to be coming up on Panda Express on the right side, and a Kentucky Fried Chicken that I've never been to. I swear that I ate real food. I know I just had a slice of pizza, but I swear that I have real food too. Alright, let's see. Camera's a little bit warm. We've been recording for about 14 and a half minutes. It's doing well. Still no warning about heat, so I think we should be good. Anyway, the camera just overheated. I'm trying to record this quickly before it overheats again. But yeah, it wasn't doing it with the temperature. So that's it, guys. If you have any comments or questions, put in the comment section below. You know, the socials and the email. But I will see you guys next time.